I turned my final speech in this last Sunday. I was always bad at schoolwork, but great at extra credit. And when I was thinking about doing this, I thought about where some of that procrastination might have come from, or putting something off versus the grit to get it done, right? Do as much as you can when you can so that you have free time when you need it. So what I wrote is not actually what I intended on talking about completely, but it has parts of it. So I let some people know it. So who I am an entrepreneur, someone who can't sit still. I've had successful companies, I've had failing companies. I am a creative person. I've done stand-up comedy for about 20 years. I like to paint. My right brain is stronger than my left brain. I'm also not great at educational things, so I don't know if that's correct when it lines up with which part of me is creative or not. But whatever side of that brain that is, that's the side that's strongest in me. I became a father. That's the most important part of my life. I have a 21-year-old son and a 10-year-old son. I say father now, but if I were to look back, I would say that I was a dad for 21 years, and it probably took me until about 7 years ago to really become a father. Thank you. Part of that was something that I was instilled with as a young person. So a lot of us, especially young men, we have this armor that we put on, and it's an ego, right? It's an arrogance. It protects us, and we have this bravado and this need to be macho or really project. We're projecting so much. And that armor is built out of fear. That armor is built out of things we couldn't control from a young age, we couldn't take a hold of. And until we let those things go, we don't start shedding that armor. And the cool thing about it is that through trials and tribulations and failures and what I would call lessons now, because I like to say, as my good buddy Reed always says, that we don't win and lose, we win and we learn. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot more than I've won. But I think that's why you win, right? You have to learn those lessons. If you ask Michael Jordan, he's missed a lot more game-winning shots than he's made. So I take pride in putting myself in that category during that one little part of that sentence. It's the only place I equal him at, right? But as my life went on, I learned to shed that. I learned to accept my humility. And what came with accepting humility and letting go of ego was true confidence. And that confidence is what allows you to have grit. That confidence lets you know that we're all flawed. And we label one another, no matter how caring or open or accepting we are of other people. When individuals walk into a room or we see them on the streets or passing by, we label them. We prejudge individuals. We're all guilty of it. We prejudge ourselves. But if you let those things become the fulfilling prophecies within yourself and for other people, then you'll never learn about any other individual. And more importantly, you'll never learn about yourself, right? We have to accept our flaws, understand that we all have them, and that it's about the journey. The journey never ends. And so to think of yourself as reaching the top or your cup is full, there's nothing left to pour into it. And so that acceptance, that humility, is what I look at as grit, is the power to carry on, because there's an understanding that a really terrible moment, a really terrible day, a really terrible instance doesn't define you. Nothing that you've done in your past is how you'll be remembered. What you do tomorrow and the habits you build every day after that, that's the way people will remember you. And so it's okay to have imperfection. It's okay to make mistakes. It's about getting up and trying again. Right? As many have heard, he who is without sin shall cast the first stone. Don't know if I'm saying that quote correctly. I don't read the Bible as much as I probably should. But, is that how it is? But I tell, oh, that wasn't the end, I'm sorry. That wasn't the end of it though, I'm sorry. But what I mean by that is it's selfish and it's lazy for us to think that we have to accept things for what they are within us. But it's a true prejudice for us to assume that other individuals aren't also on a journey. So what I look at and I ask for is for all of us to have compassion for other people. Don't presume that that individual that you met today is the same person you'll meet in a year. Don't think that anyone is beyond help, beyond saving. or beyond improvement. But rather, I like to look at life now as a canoe, in the sense that I get in my canoe, every day I row my little canoe, and I go down the river, but I no longer am worried about what's around the river bend, because things that are out of my control have no space in my life, because they can't control me and I can't control them. I have to learn to let those things go. That's the humility of life. That's the part that you need to embrace. Because when you get upset because you got cut off in traffic, or you get upset because you made a mistake, you can't dwell on that. You got to keep moving. It's not your decision. It's God's decision what's around the river bend. So don't worry about that part. And secondly, and lastly, don't worry about what's or when the river ends. I spent so much time anticipating the end of my goals. What will happen when I accomplish my goals? Nothing. I have to figure out a new goal. So the end of the river is really just eternity. It's when your life is over. And if you have that mentality and you get in your boat every day and you row, you do the work, you become better every single day. Sometimes you have to pull over to the shore and rest, set up camp, take a break. And the next day, get back on the river, move forward, and don't worry about what's around the corner, and don't worry about when the journey ends, because all of that's out of your control. And to me, that's what grit is getting up every day and doing the work, even though you don't know the outcome. Thank you.